Hello everyone, and welcome back to Think Outside the Board and another edition of the Crowdfunding Roundup. This week's episode is the third episode for November, in which I'll be reviewing the campaigns that launched between November the 15th and the 21st. Now, I have 5 different campaigns that I'd like to share with you today. There were 3 additional campaigns that ended up not making the video for various reasons. The first of those was the Red Palace Limited Edition from Queen Games. That launched the first day of the new period, so it launched on November the 15th. But it was a short 1-week campaign, and especially because of Thanksgiving, making this video a little bit later this week, it just wasn't going to be live by the time I shot the video and got it edited and posted. So there was no real reason to include it. And then there's the fact that Queen Games has been using crowdfunding campaigns and Kickstarter more and more to sell off some old stock. So I know that some people wouldn't have wanted me to include that campaign in the video anyway. The second campaign is a new campaign from Steamforged Games for Horizon Forbidden West. And that is a campaign that has a lot of interest. It's generated a lot of money, but I will not be covering anything from Steamforged Games for the foreseeable future until they get their act together, because they have, I think it's 7 or 8 unfulfilled campaigns right now, and we're talking big campaigns with lots of miniatures, big expensive campaigns, and when things kind of snowball that far, it begins to feel like they're having financial difficulties and they're using the proceeds from one campaign to complete several campaigns earlier. And I think Steamforged Games, whether or not they're having those problems, they're putting themselves in this position that could lead to another situation like Mythic Games, where they just start asking for more and more and more money for shipping and to deliver the game. Mythic Games did that several times, where they had people pay for shipping multiple times, and if they didn't do it each time, they weren't going to get their game. And I think Steamforged Games oftentimes has some very underbaked rules. Their games just aren't as polished as they should be, especially for something this expensive. But the bigger problem is the undelivered campaigns. So I'm not including that one for that reason. And then finally, I was going to include a campaign called Fire Siege, which is on Gamefound, but that campaign was canceled. So we're left with 5 campaigns that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And as always, my videos are tabbed. So if you want to find specific content, you can just scroll over the mouse bar and go right to the campaign that you're looking for. Also, all of the campaigns have links down in the description section. So rather than hunting and trying to find a campaign, if there's something that strikes a chord for you, you can just go into the description section, click on the link, and it will take you right to that campaign. Today we have 3 campaigns on Kickstarter and 2 campaigns on Gamefound. Finally, at the end of the video, I will quickly mention the games that are new to my collection this period, as well as any campaigns that I know will be in next week's video. So join me at the end of this video. I'll mention those games that are new to my collection, and then you can let me know in the comments below if any of those are games that you want to have a teach and review video made for, or you'd like to see live streamed. So all that taken care of, let's go ahead and look at our first campaign of this week. And this is Adventure Time Card Wars 10th Anniversary. This was a November 15th launch. As we can see here, the campaign is going to run until December the 15th, so this will be up on Kickstarter for a month's time total. They're already doing very, very well. They had a funding goal of $80,000. They're at about $589,000, which is over a 7-time multiplier. Now, this is not the highest multiplier or the richest campaign of this video, but it's close. Okay, let's kind of rewind time, because this is a 10th anniversary project. So if we were to go over to Board Game Geek and type in Adventure Time Card Wars, which I've already done, we can see that this franchise launched in 2014 with these 4 packs. You've got Finn versus Jake, BMO versus Lady Rainicorn, the For the Glory booster pack, and Princess Bubblegum versus Lumpy Space Princess. Now, if we want to click on, let's say Finn versus Jake, because they're, arguably the 2 main characters of Adventure Time, we can get a look at things like the score of the game, which is a 6.1, which is okay, but not great, and the complexity, which is a 1.73, which is very, very light. This is a light card game featuring combat and hand management. Now, if you were to go and kind of look at all the different Adventure Time Card Wars games, expansions, you're going to see these two names popping up on most of the games and expansions. Not always together, but usually they all have at least one of these co-designers, and they work together on Finn versus Jake. So that is Matt Hyra and Corey Jones. Now, Matt Hyra is also known for Attack of Titan deck building game, DC deck building game, and GKR Heavy Hitters. And Corey Jones is best known for Epic Spell Wars of the Battle Wizards, as well as World of Warcraft, the trading card game. Finally, Adventure Time is published by Cryptozoic Entertainment, and they're probably best known for DC deck building game, GKR Heavy Hitters, Gravwell Escape from the Ninth Dimension, some Love Letter variants, which is an AEG published game, but I believe back in the aughts and even into the teens, Cryptozoic had a lot of the DC licenses, and so I believe that's why AEG co-published the Love Letter variants like Love Letter Batman that featured DC characters. I think they had to go through Cryptozoic for that license. And then also Spyfall, which was co-published with Hobby World. But those are probably the 5 games they're best known for. So we're going to go over to this campaign here. This is the 10th anniversary campaign. We'll take a quick look at this video. It's a short 1-minute video, and then we'll go over the 3 pledges that are available through this campaign, as well as the add-ons. Now, I like the Adventure Time IP, I guess. I've played some of the video games, which are very clever, and I think your interest in this is going to depend on the IP. The score that we looked at wasn't really that high. It's not a terrible score, 6.1, and a lot of the other games may have different scores, but they're probably, of a similar rating. So I don't think it's a terrible game or anything like that, but I think your enjoyment of this will very much depend on whether or not you like Adventure Time and the kind of humor that's in Adventure Time. So that said, let's go down and take a look at the pledges here. There are 3 of them. First is called Flooper of Pigs, and I'm going to be mentioning shipping throughout this video. Whenever I talk about shipping, I'm always talking about the shipping for the continental US, so if you are anywhere else, you need to adjust the shipping for your area. So Flooper of Pigs is a $65 pledge with $25 in shipping, $90 total, and this is going to get you the kind of core pledge of this campaign. It's that box that you saw in the video. It has 6 collector's packs plus some Kickstarter extras. So that's kind of like your base pledge here for this. It's called the Ultimate Collection. Now, if we go to the next highest pledge, Card Warrior, this is a $115 pledge with $37 of shipping for $152 total. That is going to take the previous pledge, the 6 collector's packs, and add on to that a collector's storage box and the Doubles Tournament Deluxe Edition. If we go down a little bit further here, we can see the Cool Guy pledge. This is the highest pledge of the campaign. It's $245, $41 in shipping, $286 total. So this is going to add on the role-playing game Card Wars module. So that's kind of a separate game. It's a role-playing game module. Also a playmat, 100 sleeves, custom tokens, and a bag. 18 tuckback boxes for all the different card decks, and then the Cool Guy and Dweeb plastic mini mug set. Now, one note about that mini mug set, because I'm going to also talk about the add-ons, it's not available as an add-on. So that is really the one thing in this campaign. If you really want that, you can only get that through the high level pledge Cool Guy. So let's go down here on the left-hand side. We'll kind of scroll past the breakdown of the pledges because they're going to list everything out here. And we don't really need to go over that again, but I'd like to get down to the add-ons to just show you what they look like and what their prices are. This right here, Floop the Pig, this is the module for the role-playing game. You know, like Dungeons and Dragons, the module even looks like a Dungeons and Dragons module, but it's for the Adventure Time role-playing game. So that's the module. Here's this Cool Guy cup, and here they go over the pledge tiers and kind of break these down a little bit more and show you what's in each of the three. So if you have any more kind of questions or you want to look over this more, you can take a look at this on the page. And then here are the add-ons broken out. So most of these are included in the highest pledge level, but they're also available as add-ons. That doesn't include those plastic mugs. But here's the playmat. So this is $25 as an add-on. Here are those custom tokens and bag, $15 as an add-on. The card sleeves are $10 as an add-on, and that's 100 in a pack. And then finally, we have the Cool Guy and Dweeb plastic mini mug set. You'll notice there's no pledge value for this, and they even note that it's only available as part of this Cool Guy tier. They do offer the tuck boxes, so you'll get a set of 18 of these for $20 as an add-on. And then you can also buy more copies of the Ultimate Collection, $65. This is the doubles tournament that comes in the second pledge level, and everything after that, but you can get it as an add-on for $25. Allows you to play 2 players, 2v2. Then we've got the storage box here, which is also coming as part of that second tier level and the third, but if you want it as an add-on, $35. And then here's that Adventure Time role-playing game Card Wars module for $15 as an add-on. I believe that's everything. And then finally, if we look over here, we can see that they're targeting September 2024 to deliver Adventure Time Card Wars 10th anniversary. So this was it is on Kickstarter, as we can see here at the top. And we're going to stay on Kickstarter for our second campaign of the video, and that is Firefighters on Duty board game. Now, this campaign launched on November the 20th. It's going to run until December the 7th. They had a funding goal of $20,000. They're currently at $110,000, which is about a 5.5 times multiplier. This is being published by Artipia Games, who are probably best known for Among the Stars, Kitchen Rush, Micro Macro Crime City, Project Elite, and The Pursuit of Happiness. And there are 2 co-designers on this, Konstantinos Kokinis, who's also designed Drumroll, Project Elite, and Rush MD, and Sotirlos Santilas, who's also designed Crisis and Project Elite. Now, this is a real-time cooperative dice rolling game with multiple scenarios. I'm not sure about the complexity of this one. If pressed, I'd probably say medium light, but it's possible that it could edge its way into the medium heavy range. So for this one, we've got a 2-minute video, which we're going to take a look at, and then we'll come back and look at the only pledge level for this campaign. There's just one pledge level, so this is a case of if this is something that you want, you're pledging that pledge level. And then there are a few add-ons, and we'll go over those as well. Okay, let's take a look at this video.
Attention all units. This is Central Command. We have a 1070 report coming from Antipia Games. All teams, prepare for immediate response. Make sure the fire engines are loaded. Check water levels and equipment. We need to be fully prepared as we head out. Units, this is not a drill. Start rolling your action dice now. We've got limited round time. Maximize your efforts. Dispatching engines 305 and 206. Proceed to the corner of Real-Time Avenue and Cooperative Street. Immediate assistance required. Over. Firefighter teams, deploy now. We need full gear and equipment on the ground. Rescue operations for civilians are now in effect. Search and assist. Every single life counts. Teams, focus on debris removal. We have injured people trapped. Careful extraction is key. Report your status regularly. Communication is key. Over. Let's move! Let's move! All units, respond to distress calls, but stay alert. We do not know what hazards we may encounter. The crisis has been successfully averted. Outstanding work. Central Command out. All units, this is Central Command. We are receiving reports of another situation developing. Immediate response is required. Back our Kickstarter campaign today and take part in a gaming experience like no other.
That's got to be one of the most overused phrases, right? Like no other, as well as easy to learn, hard to master. Those are probably two phrases I wish that people would stop using because they don't mean anything anymore. It's just kind of like word salad. Anyway, we've got one pledge here for this campaign. So you're either backing this or you're not, and it is this Firefighters on Duty Kickstarter edition. This is a $65 pledge. It's got $21 in shipping, $86 total. But I did mention there's some add-ons, so let's go down a little bit further. If you're curious, this is kind of like what you're going to be doing when you're playing the game. So you'll choose a scenario, and then in that scenario, you'll load your fire engine. You're going to be extinguishing fires, rescuing civilians, answering distress calls, and that's kind of the gameplay. Or it is gameplay. And here's a look at what comes in that and the components and stuff. But I'm not too concerned about looking at the pledge levels since there's only that one other than the retailer pledge. So again, you're just going to back it or you're not. But let's take a look at these add-ons. So for $20, you can add on an additional set of 8 city tiles, which also comes with 3 new scenario booklets. So if this is something that I personally decided to back, I probably would do this for the extra scenario booklets. I believe the 8 city tiles are duplicates, and it's just that you can have, because they're double-sided, you'll be able to use kind of the front side and the back side at the same time because you're going to have 2 different sets of the tiles. There's also this tow truck mini expansion. This is $12 as an add-on. It introduces a new module and presents a new challenge in your scenarios as you now need to handle wrecked and abandoned cars that are blocking the streets. And then finally, there are Euro sleeves. This is a pack of 50, $3 a pack, and you can check the campaign's FAQ to see how many you would need. In fact, since there's not that much in this campaign, let's check that out ourselves. Okay, so let's see. About the campaign and my pledge. Well, they don't list it there. Additional items. Oh, okay, here we go. So quantity of cards included. Base game 56. Stretch rewards 13, so 69 total. Why am I not surprised? So it's 69 sleeves to sleeve everything, but they're giving you 50 in a pack. And so you're going to need to buy 2 packs if you want to sleeve everything, and then you're going to have 31 sleeves left over of that second 50 sleeve pack. But it is what it is. So if you do want to sleeve everything, you can get two packs of 50 sleeves for $6, $3 each. Finally, Firefighters on Duty, the Kickstarter edition, is shooting to deliver in November of 2024. From there, we're going to look at the last campaign that we have on Kickstarter, and that's for a game called Eschaton, and it's an expansion called Iconoclasm. Now, Eschaton, let's take a look at it over on Board Game Geek. I actually own it, and it's very similar to Tyrants of the Underdark. These are both deck building games that use area movement and area control. And I'd say the big thing that distinguishes them is that Eschaton is all in black and white. So the cards, the board, everything is this kind of sepia-toned black and white art. It's very thematic, very evocative, and it makes it more unique than Tyrants of the Underdark, but I really like Tyrants of the Underdark as well. So Eschaton is a 7.3. That's the rating that it has on Board Game Geek, which is pretty good. And it's got a weight of 2.7, which is in the medium-heavy range. It plays 2 to 6 players, but I think you might need an expansion to get it 5 to 6 players. But it's got a pretty good rating, and I would compare it favorably to Tyrants of the Underdark. And this was originally published in 2016, but they've come back a few times and done additional Kickstarters with little expansions. I think there was one for some meeples and sigils, and I believe you can get all of that stuff in this campaign. But what makes this campaign unique is that they are kickstarting a new expansion, which is cooperative. So in the past, Eschaton has always been a competitive game, but now you are able to play it cooperative. This is published by Archon Games, who have really been working on Eschaton for the most part. They do have another game that they've published, though, called Nexus Infernum, and everything's kind of done in-house. So their designers, they've got 3 designers, Diha, Petros Vesnelis, and Adam Watts. And Adam Watts is also one of the artists on pretty much everything, but he's not the only artist. So here's the thing. They do have a video here. It's about 2.5 minutes long, but it doesn't really show any of the gameplay or the game itself. It's just features some actors in a black and white setting. It's kind of evocative of the theme of the game and the spirit of the game, but it doesn't really show you the game or show the game being played. So if you're curious, certainly go and check out this video on your own, but I don't think it's something that we need to watch, and I don't think it's going to be useful for us to spend time watching it. So just know that it's there, but we're not going to take a look at it. Eschaton, however, launched on November the 21st. The campaign is going to run until December the 7th, and they had a thematic funding goal of $6,666. They're currently at $48,000, which is about a 7-time multiplier. So let's just go down and look at the pledges, although since we didn't have a video to look at, I'm going to go through the stuff on the main part of the sprawl here a little bit more slowly so that you can take a look at it. As you can see, I actually pledged this already, and I did it as soon as this campaign launched because they had some early backer pledges that saved you about $5, and I just decided to jump on that, but we won't be going over the early backer pledges since they're no longer available. Instead, we'll be starting with Iconoclasm. But before we talk about it, let's kind of look through some of the stuff here in the main part of the pledge. So Iconoclasm on its own is a brutal cooperative expansion for the cult strategy deck building game. 1 to 6 players, plays in 1 to 3 hours. And here's kind of a look of that. Very sepia toned. I mean, it's not all sepia toned, but a lot of it is. But it is mostly black and white art. You can see there's a little bit of color in there, but and some of the player components have color. That's kind of where the color comes into the game. But it is this kind of thematic dark art. And I like it a lot. I think it makes it really unique. So here's a look at some of the components and some additional cards and things. But that is sort of the look of the game. The resolve track, incursions. These are all kind of mechanics that are new to this cooperative expansion. Delving, resources. You can take a deeper look through this if you want to. I don't think it would behoove us to spend a lot of time looking through all of this, but I just wanted to give you a quick look. Events. Okay. I've got shipping and fulfillment down here. Okay, so here's kind of like what the base game in Sigils of Ruin looks like. So there's the core game itself. A little bit of color in the cubes. Right? Okay. So just think Tyrants of the Underdark, but with darker, more evocative art. Okay, so through this campaign, your first pledge available is for Iconoclasm, which is the new cooperative expansion. This is a $50 pledge with $13 in shipping, $63 total. You can also get just the base game, Eschaton, $60. Also $13 in shipping. Everything in this campaign is $13 in shipping. Now, you might not have heard of Eschaton, and you may not know Archon Games, the publisher, but I've had really good experiences with them in the past. I think it's neat that they're trying to keep shipping low, so they have one universal shipping fee. In the continental US, it's $13. But when I pledged something in the past of theirs, they kind of went above and beyond. I think there was... Maybe they forgot to send something, there was some damage, but they were super responsive, much more than a lot of bigger publishers. So I think you're really safe pledging something with Archon Games, and I think companies like this really deserve more support. So anyway, the base game, $60 plus $13 shipping, $73 total. We've got a bundle for the two together, so the base game and the new cooperative expansion. $110 for the bundle, $13 in shipping, $123 total. You can also pledge this pledge that adds on Sigils of Ruin. So base game, cooperative expansion, and Sigils of Ruin. $150 for the pledge, $13 shipping, $163 total. And then finally, you've got the Unholy Collection, which includes pretty much everything they've made for this, including some non-essential extras. This is a $285 pledge, $13 in shipping still, for $298 total. Now, in this pledge level, in addition to the base game, Iconoclasm, and Sigils of Ruin, you'll also be getting the Cultist Meeples, so that will upgrade the cubes to meeples, a metal round marker, a hand-printed cloth map, which can replace the board. It's more thematic, 500 card sleeves, an art playmat, an enamel pin, and a cloth tunic, which is essentially a t-shirt. So all of those items are included in this highest pledge level, but there are most of those things available as add-ons. However, you will not find an add-on section scrolling through this page. And I'm seeing some companies do this, where they're not actually listing the add-ons, but if you go over into the pledges and you click on details, then you'll get a list of things that you can add on. And those things will appear in, I think, all of the pledge levels. So here they are. And most of these things are available in that top pledge level. But if you want to pledge a lower pledge level and add on some of these things, you can do that. So the enamel pin is a $10 add-on. The Eschaton card sleeves for a pack of 100 is $13 as an add-on. The metal round marker, $15 as an add-on. The art playmat, $20. The art book, also $20. Dread Shores and Black Horizons, which if we click on this, says set in a dark fantasy world, Dread Shores and Black Horizons is a system-neutral role-playing adventure and is ready to play with Morkborg, Shadow Dark, 5th edition kind of Dungeons and Dragons. So this is a role-playing adventure, kind of standalone module game. This is its own thing. You've got the Eschaton Inquisitor Meeples, $20 as an add-on. The hand-printed cloth map, $25. The Cult Tunic, or t-shirt, $25. The Cultist Meeples, $30 as an add-on. There is a Dark One plushie, and this is not available in any of the pledge levels. It doesn't come with any of the pledge levels, so if you want the plushie, you will need to add this on. It's $35. The expansion Sigils of Ruin is $40 as an add-on. The new expansion, $50, so you can add on multiple copies at $50 each. And you can always add on more copies of the core game for $60 each. And then finally, this is Archon Games' first game. It's called Nexus Infernum. So you can add this on for $60. And it says here, set in the world of Eschaton, Nexus Infernum is a cutthroat resource management game for 2 to 5 players in which you are a necromancer seeking to become the most blasphemous in the realm. Command your skeletons to seize the portals, channel their arcane energy, make pacts with demons, and ascend. So those are the add-ons. You won't find them in an add-on section in the campaign part of the pledge, but if you click on the details for the pledges, you'll see them all listed there. And then finally, Eschaton, the new Iconoclasm expansion, and anything else you order through this campaign is slated to deliver in June of 2024. Okay, so that wraps up our involvement with Kickstarter this week, and for the final 2 campaigns, we're headed over to Gamefound. So the first of these is for Food Chain Magnate Special Edition. And many gamers know the original Food Chain Magnate through the original publisher, Splotter Spellin. And we're going to go over and look at that original. There we go. Published in 2015. Yeah, Splotter Spellin. Now, if you've played this before, if you know of Splotter Spellin games, they're very heavy games. We can see here this is a complexity of 4.20. That is very heavy. It's really rare that you see a game in the 4s. Most games, their complexity kind of maxes out somewhere in the 3s. So it's rare that you find a game this heavy. But the rating's pretty good. People like it. It's an 8.1. So Splotter Spellin is known for very heavy Euros, and also Euros that are not the prettiest. So there's a lot of gameplay in these, but the art maybe isn't the prettiest art in the world. And the components aren't always the highest quality. But people who love Splotter Spellin games love Splotter Spellin games. And the co-designers on this are Jeroen Duman and Joris Wersinga. They've designed most of these Splotter Spellin games. In fact, pretty much they are Splotter Spellin. And so the games that you may have known that they've designed or that Splotter Spellin has published will also include Antiquity, Bus, Indonesia, The Great Zimbabwe, and Roads and Boats. Now, Lucky Duck Games has kind of more well-known for doing investigative games that have an app attached to it and often use QR codes. And I'm talking about games like the Chronicles of Crime series, Destinies, or the upcoming The Dark Quarter. But Lucky Duck Games is known for making pretty games, well-produced pretty games. So kind of like Awaken Realms did with Castles of Burgundy a year or 2 back, and they made a very pretty deluxeified edition that was fairly expensive, a much prettier version than anything that had been produced before, but very expensive because all of the production that went into it. People had very different reactions to that. Some people thought, I don't need a version of Castles of Burgundy that costs hundreds of dollars. And that may be true because the original version is out there and it's fairly cheap and it has all the gameplay that you could need. However, it is such a good game that I might compare something like that to chess, where you can go out and buy a cheap chess set at the local drugstore, probably, just plastic pieces or, boring, not very well produced wooden pieces and a cheap cardboard board. Or you can go out and find chess sets that cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars with really nice components. And so I thought to myself, if you're someone who really likes Castles of Burgundy and it's a game you're going to be playing over and over and over, like some people play chess over and over, and I think there really is that much gameplay in Castles of Burgundy, why not invest and have a really nice overproduced version of the game if it's something that you're going to be putting that much time into? And I'm looking at this the same way, where if you want to go out there and get the cheap, ugly version of the game, and cheap for Splotter Spellin is still over $100, you can do that. But if you want to pay extra and get a very, very nicely produced version of the game with much nicer components, this is your opportunity to get that version of the game and pay a good amount of money to do that. So we do have a video here that we're going to look at. It's about a minute and a half, and then we'll come back and we'll look at the 2 pledges. And there's only one thing that's added on to the first pledge to make it the second pledge, which is the new deluxe version of the expansion. But you can also get that as an add-on. I don't know why you'd want to get just that as an add-on, like why you'd want to get the deluxe version of the add-on to play with a non-deluxe version of the game, but you could do that. Okay, so let's take a look at this video, and then we'll come back and explore the campaign a little bit more.
The Food Chain Magnate Special Edition is finally here. The award-winning strategy game now available in a sizzling new style. Become the CEO of your very own food chain, choosing from one of 5 unique brands. Pick a plot to build your first restaurant and start serving customers right away. You'll prepare belly-bursting burgers, refreshing lemonade, and fully loaded pizzas to satisfy those hungry stomachs. But hold on now, you'll need some help, so hire some new staff from our handy employee Card-O-Matic. You'll organize your team to cook delicious food, manage your pricing, build new restaurants, and that's just a start. Drive up demand by filling customer mailboxes, flying banners across the sky, and even taking over the airwaves. Now, this game ain't for the faint of heart, so be prepared for some stiff competition and rich strategy. But if you can beat your rivals to market, you'll earn unique milestones and come out on top. This special edition is only available for a limited time. Think you've got what it takes to become a food chain magnate? Back now on Gamefound.
Now, as I said in the video, this is a limited time thing, so Lucky Duck is not planning to go to retail with this. So if this nicer edition is something that you want, you're going to want to pledge this campaign and get it now. Okay, this was a November 21st launch for this campaign. If I click over here on Learn More, it kind of flips this card to the backside, and then we can see that the campaign is going to run until December the 7th. They've got $800,000 in the campaign right now, off of an $82,000 funding goal. That makes them the richest campaign of the video and the campaign with the biggest multiplier, about 10 times. So let's go down a little bit further here. And before we look at the pledges, let's look at some of this Why Back Now and the special edition features. So here is what you're seeing in this very pretty version, new version of the game. And they say Why Back Now, one-off special edition. And they're doing it for the expansion as well, so you can get the whole thing kind of deluxeified, but they're saying that it is a one print run. They're not going to do this again. Okay. I was curious if they had... All right, so here's kind of a look between the two versions. So this is the old Splotter Spellin version. These cards with these kind of very generic resources, and then, you know, the new version is going to have much more highly produced cards. They kind of pop more. There's more going on with the art, and then the components themselves are more highly produced. And then there was nothing like this on the original. You just had tiles, but now you've got these like 3D miniatures, and everything is 25% larger. They're saying it is the gluttony of this edition. And also you're getting some inserts to help with storage. Map tiles are dual layered. So just a lot of little kind of upgrades. Okay. Yep. All right. So here's what that special edition looks like. And that's what the content is going to look like for it. And if you've played the original, you know this is like much, much prettier. But when we get to the pledges, you're going to say, do I want to spend that much for a prettier version? And that's going to be up to you and your situation. This is something that I probably would have backed in the past, but my collection has gotten so big that I'm not sure I'm going to sink this much money into this deluxe edition, but I'm on the fence. Okay, and then here's the expansion content, and again, this is also deluxeified, so that's what this is going to look like. I just wanted you to get a good look at all of this. Okay, I think that's enough. Yeah, okay. So here is the base only pledge. This is just going to include, the base game. This is $178 plus $25 in shipping, $203 total. If you get the collector's pledge, that's just going to throw in the catch-up mechanism expansion, and that, of course, will be the deluxe version of that as well. So this pledge is $334 with $29 in shipping, $363 total. So this is not a cheap game to pledge. This is not a cheap campaign, but even though this is expensive, $363 total with shipping, keep in mind that the original kind of lo-fi, uglier version is still, I think, $150, between $100 and $150. So if you're comparing it to a game that already has a very high price tag for a stripped down, usually a universally admitted kind of ugly game, it's only 3 times more. So maybe that's okay. Maybe that's not that much more from other games that have deluxe versions made, because those games themselves are starting at a much lower price tag. But that is it. That is the campaign. And then if you wanted to get the catch-up mechanism as an add-on by itself for some reason, you can do that. And that would be $167 as an add-on. Okay, if we go back up here, we look at this, we see that this new version of Food Chain Magnate that is being published by Lucky Duck Games, they're planning to deliver this before the holidays next year in December of 2024. From there, we go to the final campaign of the video, and that is for Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. This is a deluxe reprint, which means that the game has already existed, so we're going to go over and look at that. It came out in 2018 originally. It had a 7.6 rating, which is solid. And the weight on this is 3.28. Now, usually I say that anything that is a 3.33 or higher is a heavy game, which means that this would be a medium heavy game, but like right on the edge of heavy. Plays 1 to 4 players. Community seems to think that it plays best at 4. The designer on this is Scott Alms, who's best known for Beer and Bread, Tiny Epic Dungeons, Tiny Epic Galaxies, Tiny Epic Quest, and Warp's Edge. And this is being published by Gameland Games, who publishes a lot of things, but also all of the Tiny Epic games. And so it just so happens those are their kind of most popular, best rated games. So Gameland Games then is best known for Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, Tiny Epic Dungeons, Tiny Epic Galaxies, Tiny Epic Quest, and Tiny Epic Zombies. Those are the 5 of their Tiny Epic games that have done the best and are the highest rated. So let's go back here. We'll take a look at this 2-minute campaign video, and then we'll go over the 6 pledges.
Our fleet is prepared. Our conscripts are standing by. Our time to attack is now. Charge!
Wage your own war in Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, a big box board game from Gameland Games and designer Scott Alms. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea is a 4X style board game for 2 to 4 players, but can go up to 6 with add-ons. It plays in less than 2 hours and features easy to understand rules and 80 highly detailed miniatures. Behold the epic tale of orcs versus humans, dwarves versus elves, battling kingdoms, and the individuals who turn the tides of war. In Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, players control one of these warring factions, competing to expand their kingdoms into new territory, from the humble beginnings of a single warrior and 2 peons. Through careful action selection, exploitation, war, and resource management, players will grow their army, build up their kingdoms, and conquer their enemies by land, air, and sea. Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea promises to have players expanding, exploring, exploiting, and exterminating. Please show your support by pledging to get yourself a copy of Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, and expand your collection of factions to include more players and more options. You will never find it at a better price. Don't wait. Join us and become a backer today.
Oftentimes, losing the battle teaches us what is needed to win the war.
Okay. What did I not mention about this at the top here? Let's go over their stats. So this campaign was also a November the 21st launch. It's going to run until December the 12th. They had a funding goal of $100,000, and they're at $236,000. So they're pretty well funded, but it's only like a 2.5 times multiplier. And this is a 4X game. It features action points and miniatures. And they've had a lot of stuff for this in the past, which means you've got 6 different pledge levels and then a lot of add-ons. So we're going to go over all of this. Let's go to the rewards section. The cheapest one here, I think, is this, I think it's all new stuff right here. They have everything written in this kind of terms of percentages, which, percentages off, which I think is a little confusing, but that's the way it is. So we just kind of have to navigate this. But this is your cheapest pledge here. It's all the new stuff in this campaign. This is a $63 pledge with $18 in shipping, $81 total. And that's going to include 3 things. You've got the events of More, the Battle Booster Box, and the 2 Worlds game mat. So those are the new items with this campaign. The next pledge up in terms of price tag is this great deal, 15% off. This is just for the core game. So you're not getting any of the new stuff, you're just getting the core game. It's an $85 pledge with $15 shipping, $100 total. Now from there, let me just make sure I don't want to neglect this. Now this is going to be one of our last things that we look at. So from there, we can go to the amazing deal, which is a $144 pledge with $20 of shipping for $164. And this is going to include the core game plus the expansion called Order and Chaos. And Order and Chaos adds on 4 factions and the ability to play up to 6 players. So in the base game, you can only play up to 4, but if you have Order and Chaos, you can play up to 6, and you'll have 4 more factions to choose from. From there, we go to Insane Deal, which is $172 with $25 in shipping, $197 total. That's going to be the same pledge as the one above it. So you're getting the core game and Order and Chaos, but then you are also getting Pestilence. So Pestilence was an additional expansion that gave you 2 more factions and then raised the player count up to 7. From there, we've got the no core game epic deal. So this is a $231 pledge with $30 in shipping, $261 total. This is going to get you all of the new stuff. So the events of More, the Battle Booster Box, the 2 Worlds game mat. But then you're also going to be getting Mercenary Packs 1 through 3, Sleeve Pack, the Pestilence Booster Pack, so that's specifically for the Pestilence expansion, the Nomads mini expansion, and the Siege Engine mini expansion. So it collects a lot of the smaller things that were available in different ways in the past. But it brings it all together, except that you're not getting the core game. So this may be a pledge for someone who got the core game at retail or just pledged for the core game originally, doesn't have any of the extras, and they want to get everything except for the core game. If you also need the core game, this is where we go back to that top pledge, and that is Epic Deal. So that will include everything in the pledge that we just talked about, plus the core game. That's a $299 pledge with $30 in shipping, $329 total. Now, a lot of these things you can choose to add on and just, kind of piecemeal them. And this is the list for all of those things. So additional copies of Order and Chaos, the expansion, are $72. The Pestilence expansion on its own as an add-on is $45. This, I'm going to go down a little bit to look at the Pestilence booster pack. So this is something that you specifically probably want with the Pestilence expansion, but you wouldn't want if you don't have the Pestilence expansion. And that is available for $13.50 as an add-on. Now, if we go back up here, we can see some of these mini expansions. This is the Nomads mini expansion, and this is $18 as an add-on. And it comes with these Nomad miniatures, a Nomad mercenary card, and 6 spells. We've also got, there's one other mini expansion here. This is the Siege Engine mini expansion, where you're going to have these siege engines brought into the game, 6 cardboard constructs, and also 6 siege engine cards to accompany them. And this is $9 as an add-on, so it's a little bit smaller than the Nomads, or at least it weighs a little bit less. And then we have these mercenary packs 1, 2, and 3. And you can see that mercenary pack 1 is $13.50 as an add-on. So is the third one, but the second one is only $9. And the reason is that the mercenary pack 1 and 3 each have 4 miniatures, whereas mercenary pack 2 only comes with 2 miniatures. So this one is cheaper. We also have sleeve packs here. So the sleeve packs are $22.50. And that's going to come with everything that's bundled here together. So you're getting a bundle of different card sleeves, 45 clear sleeves, 45 tactic card sleeves, 10 solo enemy sleeves, and 70 spell card sleeves. There are slightly different dimensions, some of them. These 3 are the same, the clear sleeves, tactic card sleeves, and enemy sleeves, but the spell cards are a different size. But you're getting all of these kind of bundled together in this pack for $22.50. If we go down a little bit further, you can add on the Two Worlds game mat, so it's double-sided. That's $45. This is its own thing. It's just kind of one miniature. It is the Guardian Heart of Gamelin. So this is kind of like representative of the Gamelin logo. So this is a little standalone thing, $9. You get 1 mercenary and 1 miniature card. And then the other 2 new things, so one of them was this mat, but the other 2 new things are this Events of Omor mini expansion, and this is going to add events into the game, 52 different unique events. This is one of those 3 new items in this campaign, $18 as an add-on. The second one was the game mat, and the third one is this battle booster box. So this one has 55 cards that are tactics in a deck to boost your battles like never before. That is the booster box, and it also comes with sleeves. But if you want to get it as an add-on, $18. And we can go up to, I think, any of the original pledges and get the delivery date, the projected delivery date, which is July 2024. So that wraps the 5 different campaigns for the week. Thank you very much for joining me for this video, and if you wanted to like or subscribe, that's the best way to support this channel at this time. After I launch the new types of content that I'm working on behind the scenes, revamped teach and review videos, and live streaming of games, I'll probably also be at some point launching a Patreon, so those who want to help support the channel more directly financially can do so. But until then, you can still like and subscribe, and even once the Patreon launches, if that's something that you're not able to do, you can always like and subscribe. And subscribing is the best way to keep yourself looped in, so that as I launch the new types of content, you'll get notifications. Now, before we wrap the video, let's talk about the new additions to my collection. And these are things that are kind of new out there in the game space, so I think they're kind of ripe for being bumped to the top of the queue for teach and review videos or for live streaming. And those games that are new this period include the recent Kickstarter for Ancient Terrible Things called Reawakened, and I went all in on that. And it's not that much stuff, but it's sort of a push your luck dice drafting game. It's got this Cthulhu theme to it. And I mean, you can play it as a competitive game, but I'm sort of interested in playing it solo and doing some live streams. So that was a lot of the reason that I backed it. I thought it would be a really fun game to play live streaming solo. I also got in the new expansion for Batoku called Restoran. I got a game called Come Together, which I've heard some really good things about over the last year, but it was hard to get in the States. I think it was only originally published in Europe or maybe in England, but it's a game about building bands and putting on performances. There's another game that's going to be similar coming later this year from Devir called Rock Hard that is designed by a friend of mine. But I'm still really interested in Come Together, and I think it's a really interesting theme, and I'm very curious to get that to the table and see how it plays. I also got Freelancers, which is the new game from Plaid Hat Games that uses their system that was made famous in Dead of Winter. And Freelancers is a campaign game. I believe it's a legacy game. I also recently got in Gen 7, which wasn't the best rated game. That's also a legacy game from Plaid Hat. But I really like legacy games, and I like games that have an evolving narrative story. And so I was able to pick up Gen 7 really cheaply, and that's a game that I'm looking forward to playing, as is Freelancers, but Freelancers, I think, has gotten better reviews. I also got in Nucleum, which came in a pre-order from Board and Dice. It's the new, I think it's David Turksey, and I'm very excited about all of his games, but Nucleum looks really cool, and I've heard great things about it as it's been available through various board game conventions over the last several months. Along with that game, I got SideQuest Nemesis, which is Board and Dice's kind of relaunch of puzzle games, much like the Exit or Unlocked series, except that they are theming their puzzle series around other games. And I got the one for Nemesis, which I thought would be a lot of fun. So that and Nucleum came together. And then kind of continuing on the retail games that I got the new version of The Princes of Florence in. I'm a huge Euro fan, and it's by some designers that I like, so I wanted to check out this new, better version of The Princes of Florence. I believe it's Kramer and Kiesling. And then finally I got in The Red Cathedral, which I've heard lots of good things about. They have a kind of new spiritual sequel that's out now called The White Palace, and I believe I have that as well now, but I wanted to kind of circle back and get The Red Cathedral and the expansion for that called Contractors. So these are all games that I'm excited about, and I'd love to make teach and review videos for or live stream. And if these are games that you want to see that kind of content for, just let me know in the comments. Finally, there are 2 games that will likely be included in next week's video, which I'll be getting to producing shortly. One of those is the new Nemesis campaign. It's on Gamefound from Awakened Realms. It's called Nemesis Retaliation. And, Nemesis is often compared to Alien. I think this version of it is going to focus more on soldiers, and so it's going to kind of be the Aliens version of Nemesis with, just troops coming in and kind of more military oriented. And then also Boundless Stride into the Denlands. So those 2 campaigns are likely to appear in next week's video, along with whatever launches on Tuesday of next week and before then. But because this is Thanksgiving week, there's not that much stuff that I'm aware of. So next week's video very well could be a very short video. But come back in a week's time and we'll see together how long that video is going to be and what's going to be included in that. Until then, have a great holiday week, play lots of great games, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.